You know, it's kind of funny when you listen to what a lot of people have said about School Daze, Josh Scorcher, Firebrand being the latest. And a lot felt it was a good episode. Some may have not felt it was the best two-part premiere or premiere period, but some felt that it did its job. But you can't really blame people like Josh or anybody else for pointing out some of the flaws or some of the reasons. I mean, let's take a look at School Daze in effect. I mean, Twilight basically had good intentions in mind. I mean, she saw basically what the map had expanded into and pretty much took what she saw there and from what she had experienced during the movie and pretty much realized, hey, why not spread friendship across all of Equestria and beyond? I mean, honestly, it makes all the sense in the world when you think about it. I mean, like I said, she has good intentions. She wants the other students to learn exactly what she's learned and her friends have learned. Heck, she wants to prove that what she helped Starlight and even, I guess, Tempest learn about friendship can be spread across, like I said, all lands in Equestria and beyond it. However, there are a few things to keep in mind. Even though Twilight, like I said, had good intentions, the intentions were, well, kind of hit and miss. Yeah, Twilight did what she had to do to get the school up and running. She got the research she needed, or at least the information she needed from Celestia. She took a proposition for her idea to basically the Equestrian Education Association, the EEA. And by doing so, she basically got what she wanted. She got her school up and running. But that's where she made the mistake. She didn't realize that the EEA, mostly Chancellor Naysay, only meant for ponies to go to that school and not other creatures across and beyond Equestria. Yeah. Big mistake on Twilight's part. I mean, not only was it a big mistake on her part, but she basically had asked, and her friends, I guess because of friendship, reluctantly agreed to allow themselves to be put into a situation in which, heck, even Applejack pointed out they're not really prepared for. I mean, even during that first big song that they sing, that they and the students, along with Twilight, sing about the school, basically 5 of the main 6 basically shout out, they don't know what to do. They're lost. They're lost because they're not used to teaching this way. If they're going to teach, and they're going to teach about friendship and what they've learned about friendships due to the elements that they represent, let them do it their own way. Let them be themselves. Here, they're pretty much telling Twilight, you're putting us in a situation we have no clue on what to do. We don't know what we're doing if you're going to put us like this. If you let us be ourselves, hey, all's fair in love and war, if you will. Basically, more love, less attempt at war. But again, Twilight, give it to her. She had good intentions. She wanted to spread the message of friendship, but again, in being, how do I put this? In being such a rush, or being in such anticipation of doing it, and not really doing the research that she, Twilight Sparkle of all characters, should be doing, and learning about what she's about to get her and her friends into, she instead wants to rush head on into it before any true research is done. I mean, honestly, Twilight, like I said, she did what she had to. She did she did get the info she needed from Celestia, but she didn't do enough research or get enough information so that she could realize, oh, the EEA, who I'm going to present my idea in front of, may not like the idea that I'm opening my school to other creatures. I mean, it would have made more sense if she would have done research on Daze, found out about his background, found out that not only is he the head of the EEA, but find out that he's basically a freaking racist. Would have been the smarter decision for Twilight to make, because that way she'd be like, oh, I can't really do this school just yet until I can convince this guy that my students are not going to be a threat. But she doesn't do that. The one major lesson that Twilight basically learned here is by rushing into this, the school basically backfired. The initial idea for the school backfired. And that's bad. That is bad. I mean, even the main six, after a while, basically take time to go to her office and explain that things aren't working out the way they should. I mean, they point out how the students are looking at them and not seeing the main six they've heard of, but seeing basically jokes. They're seeing nothing but jokes, pathetic, washed up versions of the group they've heard about. And it's like, seriously, this should wake Twilight up. But here's the thing about Twilight, and this is the one thing people love and don't love about her character: her stubbornness. You know, everybody says that Applejack's stubbornness makes her a great character, whether you like her or you don't. The same with Twilight. Her stubbornness sometimes makes Applejack's pale in comparison. Because even though she has her friends right there in front of her office, in front of her, saying, look, this ain't working, and even Spike asking her probably the best quote in the season right now, who are you and what have you done with Twilight Sparkle? Take a look around this video. Hopefully it'll pop up by the time you see this. The point is, Twilight had so much evidence thrown right in front of her by her friends, and even probably visually by her closest friend in Spike, and possibly by what the students were doing, that she should have woke up, but she wasn't listening. Twilight wasn't listening. And what happens next basically is the reason for that. It's a major reason. Now, when I talk about the fact that it backfired on her not listening, that is, to what her friends, and even Spike was telling her, her closest friend, her freaking little brother, or equal, same age brother, however you want to look at it, especially if you support Sparity. It basically takes Daze making a surprise visit, then Family and Friends Day, for her to basically realize, or start realizing, things aren't going the way she was hoping, because she didn't do enough research. She didn't properly plan. She rushed into this. Now, like I said, and everybody else has pointed out, Twilight has had good intentions. She had good intentions from the beginning. Yeah, find a way to spread friendship to all lands across and beyond Equestria. And how do you do that? By basically teaching the lessons of friendship and passing it on to the next generation. And again, she had good intentions. The only problem was in my opinion, she didn't do the research that was needed. I mean, she should have known, if she would have done the proper research, she would have known that Daze is the kind, since he's the head of the EEA, he likes to make surprise inspections. And wouldn't you know it, he makes a freaking surprise inspection. It's kind of like with me. When I used to live on my own in my apartment, sometimes I'd get surprise inspections and I wouldn't be ready. I'd suddenly get a notice under my door saying, hey, in 24 hours, we're going to inspect your apartments. We're going to inspect your apartment along with others. I had one day, and I could be working, but one day to try to put things together, make things proper. Same thing at my job. We could all be having a great day, a nice day, but then all of a sudden, with all due respect, our CSMs kind of get on us a little bit. We're wondering what's happening, and then finally we find out, oh, the head regional person's coming in for a surprise inspection or walkthrough. So basically, we have a short amount of time to basically make things look proper for the walkthrough, for their inspection. So basically, if Twilight would have done her research, she would have known that Naysay would make a surprise visit, probably most likely on the day she's going to do Family and Friends Day. And if she had done the proper research, she would have been ready for that. But here's the thing about Naysay, though. It's almost like Naysay, from the start, only approved Twilight's school so he could see it fail. Like, there's something about Naysay that basically makes me feel like he never really wanted Twilight to be running a school. That basically he looked at her as the Princess of Friendship, and that was it. Like, hey, you're the Princess of Friendship, that's your duty, you deal with, that's the only thing you should do. Really? So you're telling me she's the Princess of Friendship and you feel that that's the only thing she should do, but yet one of the schools that the EEA approved is a school ran by her freaking mentor, the Princess of the Sun, the freaking leader of Equestria. The one that later on, and Josh Scorcher had a proper reaction to this, called you out on your BS.
Changing the rules for them! It simply won't work!
I seem to recall something about Earth ponies, unicorns, and Pegasi doing something similar. Don't you?
So you're telling me, E, that this Naysay, possibly, when you think about it, only approved Twilight School to see it fail. Because it seems that way to me. It seems that way to me. He couldn't just, I mean, come on. You run a freaking, you're the head of the EEA. Anybody knows with any educational institution, most times when they come to inspect a new school in the district, that they let the school know in advance. This guy didn't let Twilight know in advance, hey, I'm going to come and inspect your school, have everything properly ready. The reason he didn't do that is because he wanted to see Twilight fail. And because he knew, and this is one thing Josh Scorcher and a few others have brought up, he knew Twilight wasn't prepared. Had not been properly prepared to run a school. She hadn't done, like I know I say this word a lot here, enough research. She had not done proper planning. She had not basically brought together the proper ponies to be teachers in her school. That she instead relied on her friends, which he called unqualified. Yeah, the unqualified by teaching the way you wanted, but they're not unqualified by teaching the way they want to. Because they know either way, because they know one way, school is going to go down. They know the other way, the school is going to succeed. But that, to me, makes me wonder and think that Naysay wanted to see the school go down. And that's just my opinion on that. That's just my opinion on that. I mean, you could argue it all you want, but the thing is, I think honestly, when you look at it, Naysay only approved it so he could watch it burn. I mean, Come on, seriously. Why why instantly close a school down just because of one disastrous mistake? A lot of schools get second chances. Think about that. He wanted to see it go down. That's the only reason he approved it. Because he wanted to see Twilight fail. And I think that's the truth. Now, one thing I'm going to talk about here is Starlight's role. Ever since Starlight has become a main part of the group, basically turning the main six into the main seven, and basically officializing that with the Mean Six mid-season finale, ever since she's become part of the group, Twilight has been almost legitimately a voice of reason. She has been. True. Starlight still has her moments. Parent Map's a good example. But Starlight still has her moments, no doubt. But this episode, and then other episodes similar to it, well, not totally similar, but have certain situations like it, she has basically been a voice of reason and basically a tell it like it is character. And this is why a lot of people have come to like Starlight. Because she is basically a tell it like it is character. She ain't gonna BS around. She basically, when she approached Twilight and told her that she wasn't there to cheer her up, but to tell her what she did wrong, you don't normally see that from one pony character or dragon character to Twilight. Usually, they're there, as we see previously with her friends, they're there to try to cheer her up, make her feel better. Not Twilight, but Starlight, oh yeah, she's there to make her feel better, but she's there to make her feel better by waking her up and making her realize that the Twilight Sparkle that got crushed by this guy shutting her school down is not the Twilight Sparkle I know. The Twilight Sparkle stands up for what she believes in and does it the way she believes it should be done. Basically the moment she knocks the EEA rulebook into the freaking lake and to the bottom of it, it's pretty much her way of telling Twilight, this is your school, this is your thing, this is your idea. You do it the way you believe it should be done. You do it the way the way your friends believe it should be done. And that's enough to wake her up. The line that Starlight has is, well, yeah, that. She basically when she knocks that book down the river, into the river, she says, that doesn't matter. What matters is the way you're doing it. She tells Twilight, you're the princess of friendship. You're in charge of friendship. This is your school. This is not the EEA school. It's Twilight school. It's the main seven school. And you can't argue with that. You can't argue with that logic. Again, whether you like Starlight or you don't, the way she's been presented in the series lately by far, and even in this episode, pretty much indicates that she is a friend that's not afraid to tell you like it is. And she does just that in this moment. Now, let me speak about Student 6. The Student 6, in my opinion, are good characters. They have potential. I'm not against them. I really am not. I may have said some things here and there, but I'm not really against the Student 6. I think they have potential. The only reason I think some people worry about them is because they're basically, in a sense, carbon copies of the main 6. Sandbar is your Twilight. Oculus is your Fluttershy. Smolder is your Rainbow Dash. Yana, well, I don't know where you put her. I think Yana is more like, I wouldn't say she's Applejack or anything, but she's strong, so that's basically an Applejack trait there. Gallus is kind of like Rainbow Dash. And Silverstream is basically Pinkie Pie. And I understand that worries people. Okay, now you might be thinking, well, Smolder, how's she Rainbow Dash if there's pretty much Gallus? Well, Smolder pretty much could be also like a rarity. Although she's not too much into the nitty-gritty. Actually, Yana's more like a rarity, just not rarity-like in personality, but you get the idea. But I understand that makes people worry. That this season's setting up the Student 6 to be the new main characters. And I don't see that happening. What I see is this season being an introductory season of these characters so that they'll come back next season, not permanently, but occasionally. Think about it this way. Think about it this way. If the Student 6 were going to be the new main characters, then why do we have an upcoming Christmas special at the end of the year focusing on the main 7? I'm just saying. Main 6, main 7. I'm just saying. The point is, the Student 6 are not here to replace the main 6 or the main 7. But they do have potential to be great characters. The chemistry between them in this episode and throughout, later on, has been good. There's no doubt. And basically the bonding, the friendship bonding, is very reminiscent of the very first episode of the series. Because in that episode, during that adventure, that first adventure the main 6 had together, the friendship grew. The friendship grew to where they could trust each other. They could trust each other and realize they wouldn't turn against each other. That no matter how hard the times come, they're always going to get through it. Again, Mean 6 is a good example of that, whether you like it or you don't. But here's the thing, though, when it... Okay, sorry. But as I was saying, the Student 6 have potential. I mean, yes, they kind of represent a little bit... I mean, they're basically like a variety... They're basically younger, I guess you could say, different versions of the characters. You know, the specious versions of Twilight. You know, Sambar being basically like Twilight. Smolder being like Applejack maybe, or Rainbow Dash. Or mostly, I would say Applejack. Yana being mostly like Rarity. You know, Oculus being like Fluttershy. Galacus being like Rainbow Dash. You know, I get that. I understand that there's a worry there. But as I was saying before the phone rang, you know, we don't have nothing to worry about. Because first of all, why would you have a Christmas special set up focusing on the main 7, main 6, as well as the fact that you're bringing in an antagonist in the next season that's pretty much the most powerful one they've ever faced, which you're going to probably result in maybe a 2 to 3, maybe for the first time ever, 4-part finale. It's like, why would you want to do this? The only reason these characters are being brought in is so not only could they be the inaugural graduating class of Twilight School, but they could also be basically the standard bearers to show the EEA and mostly naysay that, hey, what our head mayor told you, our principal told you, the founders of the school told you, we are here to help this world, not destroy it. And again, the characters have a lot of personalities. I mean, Oculus, I'm going to tell you right now, if everybody loves Fluttershy, they're going to love Oculus. Especially with the fact that her power is shape-shifting. I mean, Josh, I think, said it best. When she pretended to be Rarity, she basically parodied Rarity to a T. And basically, as Josh put it, well, let Josh say it for itself.
Ocellus the Changeling transforms into Rarity and...
A generosity field trip, darling. I'm taking the students to the lake to look at our divine reflections.
Best Pony just got roasted!
Yeah, Best Pony just got roasted. Or my fave pony just got roasted. And that's saying something. Something when you can have a character that over-exaggerates who she impersonates. Heck, she tried to impersonate those little creatures that were basically, in my opinion, and anybody else's opinion, G4 versions of Bush Willies, to try to be friends with them. That backfired, of course. But then later on, you see what she's able to become. I mean, heck, she becomes a freaking sea pony. And oh, by the way, when she becomes a sea pony, why does her eyes, I mean, she's got blue eyes, but all of a sudden she becomes a sea pony and it's like, whoop. She's got pupils now or something. Man, that's another story. But yeah, think about that. A character that's like Fluttershy is kind of very characteristically similar to Fluttershy, but when she becomes other species, she's totally different. She's got like she's able to let loose in a sense. So not bad. Not bad for characters that have potential. Smolder, you could already tell is going to be a fan favorite as well. Because she's going to be sarcastic, because that's her nature as a dragon. But she's also going to be the friendly kind. That basically like, hey, maybe it's not, she even admits it in the episode. It's not so bad having friends of different species. So, I think the Student 6 have potential. Even if they make a return next season on an occasional appearance, I think they have potential. And, I really do. I really do. I think they definitely have potential. Now, let's take a look at the school itself. Again, like I mentioned earlier, the school is a great idea of Twilight's. Basically an institution or a place for all creatures of all kinds, not just ponies, not just Earth ponies, Pegasus ponies, and unicorn ponies, and even potentially alicorn ponies to come and learn about friendship, but of all creatures of all kinds. Dragons, hippogriff sea ponies, griffins, changelings, you name it. But you name it, and it's a great idea. But here's where some people wonder about the status of school. It's not EEA approved. Originally it was, but again, as I mentioned earlier, I think Daze only did that because he wanted to see it fail, because pretty much, as I mentioned, and Josh Scorcher has mentioned, and others have mentioned, Daze is made to be not just a racist, specious villain, but also one of those that isn't fooled by, basically can see, basically he's a villain that is racist, there's very racist species, but it's the kind of villain that's not fooled by the wool being pulled over his eyes. Like, he can see through a lie. Or he can see through falseness or something like that. And what was I trying to say here? And, obviously he saw that Twilight was he obviously saw that Twilight was rushing into this. And obviously hearing about her and her friends' exposés, not exposés, but whatever you want to call that other word for adventures, expositions around the Equestria and beyond, You could tell in a sense he was setting Twilight up. Which is why when you look at the school afterwards and how she basically says, hey, this ain't EEA approved anymore. This is independently run. People wonder, well, what does that mean? Well, technically it means the fact that it's a school still. Students still go there to learn. It's about friendship. But now it's run in a way that it should have been at the beginning. Basically, it's ran the way not only Twilight originally intended it to be, but it's run and taught the way her friends know they could do it. Like Applejack, Pinky, Rarity, Rainbow Dash, and Fluttershy are now calm and relaxed to be like, now we could teach. Now we could do it in a way we know how to do it. So, and Starlight's even more comfortable as a guidance counselor. She's able to, talk to the students without, being a certain way. She's, like I say, able to do it without students being a certain way. And I don't think, honestly, you could blame the main seven, or 6 of the main 7, for really being more comfortable now. I mean, in fact, Twilight basically tells Naysay, you're right. This isn't EEA anymore. This is independence. This is an independent school, and it goes by its own rules. And oh, by the way, those rules I wrote in this book. I mean, she literally has a book already set up saying, yep, see this? This is all the rules of the school that I run, that me and my friends run, that these students are going to call home. But here's the thing about the school. If independently run or independent on being on its own, being its own thing, if that sounds familiar to a lot of people, it's because it's similar to something that happens in real life. You see, in real life, we have independent studies. We have independent study programs. We have independent study schools. Yes, they do have to do have to follow certain rules, but they're more loosely based, in a sense. Now, I'm not saying that's entirely true for all independent schools and study programs, but basically they're more individually focused. In other words, they have the rules, but they're a little bit more lenient. Like, yeah, you got to use this independent program to continue to learn and be better at what you're doing, like get better grades or be better in class and stuff like that. But you could do so in a more relaxed pace. You could actually sit down and talk over certain concerns if you have them. And that's kind of like what Twilight School has become. It's basically a school that has become its own thing. And by being an independently run school, it also can run by its own hour system. One of the concerns a lot of fans have always had is how is Twilight and her friends going to be able to manage the other jobs if they have to teach? And it's real simple. Twilight School of Friendship, being an independently run school, allows them to do that. Allows herself and her friends to be able to do their own thing and not have to worry about, attending to the school all the time. Because it's right there. Apparently it's right across from Twilight's castle, if you will. But the point is, but the question I think anybody would have is, how long is the school going to last? Will we see it again next season? I look at it this way. We will probably see it next season, but we won't see it as much as we do this season. Just like with the Student 6, this is more of an introductory season to the School of Friendship. It'll still be around, it'll still be acknowledged, but it won't be as prominent, because the main prominence, if you will, throughout season 9 is going to be focused towards building to the confrontation with Grogar. And that's about it. But the School of Friendship as an independent school going from originally EAA approved, which again I think was Naysayer's way of setting Twilight up, because he could see through her BS and see the fact that she was rushing into this instead of properly planning and researching. To me, honestly, I think it's a good idea. I think it being its own independent deal is a good idea because it's more lenient. Yeah, you still have rules and stuff you have to follow, but it's more lenient, and you don't have to worry about being there every day. It's like it's on your own hourly pace. It's like the way you could look at it is like if Applejack has a class she has to study, has to teach. Applejack could say, "Well, I could teach it about 9 o'clock in the morning, but you know what? I want to focus on my farm bit, work on that. So you know what? I'll let my students know this day we're going to come in, we'll start class around 10 o'clock, be done by lunchtime, and that's it." And that's pretty much somewhat how independent schooling and studying is. Almost similar to homeschooling, too. A little bit more lenient. You'll have your own hours to work around, have your own hours to, to work around and be able to do your teaching if you have to. But I don't think it'll be the last time. I think it'll still be around, we just won't see it as much in Season 9. When I look at Josh Scorcher's review of school days, and I look at everybody's, like Master Codes and a few others, again, overall they bring up some good points. Positive, negative, mixed reaction, you name it. And I'm not saying school days didn't do good. I've said my piece about it before. But I think when you look back on it now, it's good setup for Season 8. Does it worry a lot of fans when it comes to the Student 6 potentially being the new main 6? Yeah, it does have that potential. But I think as longtime fans go, and there's a lot of fans that have been fans a lot longer than I have, although you wouldn't really tell just by what I have around this room. I'll put it to you like this. The worry that fans have shouldn't be a worry at all, because I don't think the Student 6 are going to really be the main It's like I said earlier, the Student 6 are there this season as an introductory. But when they come back in the next season, it'll be on occasions. Heck, they might get paired up with one of the main 6 to go on a friendship mission, for all we know. But the point being, the Student 6, the worry that fans had initially when they saw the Student 6 and saw the similarities to the main 6, should be wiped right out, should be thrown right out the window. I mean, yeah, the way they did the hand thing was very similar in the two-parter. The way that the main 6, main 7 came to the rescue of the students at the end, towards the end of Part 2, could, potentially make you worry, but I don't think you have to. The Student 6 are just there to show that, hey, that you could have a main 6-like group that's full of diversity and different kinds of creatures and races and species, and it might be just as fun and intriguing and promising as the main 6 were originally when we first saw them. So overall, School Days, I think, did great setup. It really did. I think the only complaint some people would have is how at the beginning, it feels like it's shoehorned in its connection to the movie. Some might even say that scene was added in almost last minute. And it does kind of feel like that. It's like I said before, it's like they had this original scene planned out where Twilight was going to announce they're going to do a school, and then basically because of the movie, they had to remake it and rework it to tie in with the movie. Or something. But yeah, I think that would be one of the only major complaints. Overall, Naysay, the way he left, yeah, they are, I will agree with Josh on this, They are setting up something big with him, and I think Cozy Glow plays into that. Cozy Glow is part of the plan to play into that, and I think T-Rex involvement's playing into that as well. So yeah, they're definitely setting something up majorly for him towards the end of the season. Because you can't tell me that Naysay is not going to want to see Twilight School go down once and for all. Because let's face it, when he sulked off, if you will, not sulk off, but kind of left in a rage, if you will, in anger, and basically vowed vengeance. You can't tell me that he didn't feel humiliated, and he'll want revenge for that humiliation. And Cozy Glow and T-Rex pretty much play into that, I believe. But yeah, Josh is right. They are setting something up for him. And as far as the EEA itself, I think after this season, they're going to have a major change. Because it looks like the EEA is stuck somewhat, when you think about it, in the past. They're like, this is the way things were done then, and this is the way they're going to be done now and forevermore. And I think what's going to happen with this season, after it's all said and done, they're going to basically see that the old ways are not the best ways, and it is time to move on and evolve, and adapt with the times. And I have a feeling that at the end of this year, at the end of this season, Twilight School is going to be the foundation where every school, even the EEA schools, are going to allow not just ponies of all kinds, but creatures of all kinds to be part of the school system, to be part of the schools in general. That's what I think we're going to see happening at the end of this season, because of Twilight School of Friendship. So, overall, School Days, looking back on it, was good. And that's all I'm going to say in this response to Josh and Mastercode's reviews of it. So, let me know what you guys think down below. Thank you all for watching, and peace out.